Welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Meat Suit. Today is Thursday, and it's the 4th, I think, of February. So we're still living in... Yeah. I'm joined today by Tom Sidney Bushnell, also known as Tom Numbers. If you're new to the channel, go and watch the first video I did with Tom called The Keys to the Matrix. It's in the videos about a week ago. And also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you click the link below in the description to sign up to my email list, because YouTube took down another video of mine yesterday. 3 videos have taken down so far. I think they're going to take down more. So if I do disappear, if you're on the email list, then you'll know where I am. Tom, how's it going?
Good, Mark. I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, well, I was just telling you before we got on air that everything was great. Swimming. I got up really early this morning. Very productive, getting things done. And suddenly I was like, whoa, I'm really tired. And I just collapsed, and I missed the meeting. I fell asleep. I was gone for 3 or 4 hours. I'm finding the energies at the moment really interesting, I think is the way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, 3 or 4 days ago, suddenly my eyes were really weird and I had to keep rubbing them. They were just red raw. The ear ringing's off the charts. Sleep patterns all over the place. Sometimes I'm really high and happy. Sometimes I'm really like, whoa. And like we just said before we started recording, where is the time? Time really feels surreal. Yeah, and it's not imagination. This is actually happening.
It is. I have to metaphorically pinch myself many times. Well, at least probably once a week or so on it, just maybe a couple of times, and I kind of swell up. I just think about the swell up with joy. I'm either doing my rebounding in the morning, and I just put the music on, and I start to think about the grand picture and the big scale of it all. That's an understatement, and it's amazing. I love it. We're here. We're right here. This thing that's been predicted for all of time, and we're here.
I know.
We're here. You know?
I know, and I literally try not to think about it, right? Because I haven't given myself any time to think about it, because I've been just driven. But a friend of mine popped round earlier, and she put on this video of this couple. I think it's a brother and sister, and when the lockdown started last year, they said, well, we'll play a song every day for lockdown, right?
Yeah.
Thinking they do like 14, 15 songs. They're on the 325th song.
Yeah. Mental. I know.
I'm sorry. I'm a little bit delirious about it, because it's like there's still people out there wearing masks thinking it's all real. It's just extraordinary.
I know. It's bonkers, isn't it? It's like, how far are they going to push it until people actually do wake up? That BatMan clip I sent, there's a little clip that we're going to talk about part of, a little further into the conversation, but I watched another one after that. And it was just Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy kind of spliced together in 15 minutes, just some of the key words. And Christian Bale, Batman, he was saying people need to be shaken. They need dramatic, they need dramatic symbols or dramatic things to shake them out of apathy. And I was like, yeah, that's what we probably require at some level, because the actual, like you say, the lockdown, the masks hasn't been dramatic enough for most people, So maybe we need the earth needs a little bit of a gentle nudge, a little bit more of a shake, something to wake people up. It's like, okay, the dawn is coming, so the alarm's going to go off very soon,
Well, all the signs, everybody that I respect is saying, big things soon. But it's funny you mentioned Christopher Nolan again, because I did a video with Charlie Freak last night, and I mentioned a line out of Batman Begins where Bruce falls down the well, and then his dad's got him in bed. He's in bed, and his dad comes in and says, "Why do we fall down?" And then he says,
"Learn to pick ourselves up again."
Yeah. Which is a deeply esoteric line about there and back again, which is this journey, this cycle that we're in, the hero's journey and everything else. So, and was it you? Did we discuss Christopher Nolan before being like an esoteric?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, because
maybe not esoteric, but I definitely brought his films up, and you said you're a big fan as well.
Well, I've got a couple of books here somewhere on the bookshelf. Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2, really amazing. Anybody that's interested in the language of film, which we should be, because most people just go to the cinema completely blind. They just think they're being entertained, but they're not. They're being programmed, or they're having spells cast upon them, or they're being shown things. It's I'm fascinated by it. One of the best breakdowns. I don't know if you ever saw somebody did a phenomenal breakdown of the Back to the Future films, like piece by piece by piece. It's just extraordinary. I think we talked about the 88 miles per hour being the.
Yeah, we did. I'd love to see that breakdown, Mark, because I love Back to the Future.
Yeah, I got to dig it out because it's the best breakdown of a movie I've ever, and it's so much more interesting than watching Barry Norman or Jonathan Ross talking shite about. Because they just talk about
Claudia Winkleman now. Is it Claudia as well? Does she get the next one? Barry Norman? Yeah.
She's I've not seen her for a while, but she doesn't seem to age, and I'm very mistrustful of people who don't seem to age for obvious reasons. Anyway, numbers. How are the numbers? What's we got? What's
the numbers are great, buddy. The numbers are really amazing. So one of the people we spoke about in our last episode was Princess Diana. You asked me kind of my backstory on how I got into the numbers and Q and 17 and listening to President Trump every day at the beginning of COVID. And I mentioned Diana, her burial time. Well, sorry, but not the burial time, the burial service, 9:08 at I think it was Westminster Abbey, 9 + 8 is 17, etc. Looking at her plot, and then JFK Jr.'s, etc. So I did some numbers on Diana recently. I think I mentioned to you, I went down to Westminster. It's going so quick, Mark. So this is about 12 days ago now. I went down to Westminster. There was a little fire. It was put out. And there was the Elizabeth Tower, which is Big Ben. There was a little flashing light 17 stories up. You can see on the video. Well, slightly more because there's tarpaulin around the bottom, 2 or 3. And then I realised you got the big Q. Jean-Baptiste pointed that out to me. Big Q with the Millennium Wheel, etc. So I did the numbers on Diana. So there's a few here that are interesting. So Lady Diana comes to 71. So when you add the two together, Diana comes to 29, which is a few things, but one of them is on. So when you switch things on, the change, etc. So Diana comes to 29.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
Right. So I read a load of the comments and got feedback, and I find myself doing this right with you. I find myself going, yeah, and then I go, hang on, I didn't understand that, and I'm doing it like, so I'm going to cut you off and say, why does 29 mean on?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it can mean many things, but it's one of the things that because many letters and words and the combination of the numbers can mean many, many things. But like I said, maybe not. Well, I might have said it before, but there's quite a lot of key pieces and words and numbers that are in this puzzle, and they grow all the time as I discover more and more. But one of them, the reason for on, is if you go to Terminator, so Terminator 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger says a line about on August 29th, they switch everything on and they pull the plug. So on stood out to me because the word on comes to 29, but they also referred to it double. They said on August 29th. So it was 29 at the end, and it was also at the beginning on August 29. So that's why it stood out to me. It can mean other things, but I was quite pleased when I discovered Diana was 29. And when you add, Lady Diana comes to 71. 71 is significant for a few things. Firstly, I notice it because it's my channel, Psych.Club. So Psych comes to 71. It also means smart, also means Moses. There's a few other things as well. It's popped out of my head right now. But then if you do Diana Spencer, this is where it really gets fun. Diana Spencer. Spencer is 80. Okay. One of the ways you can look at 80 is you can do the actual word 80 it adds up to 74. I think we mentioned before, 74 is London, it's Jesus, it's President Trump's age, etc. It's Muhammad. It's a few things. But if you do Diana Spencer or 29 plus 80, it comes to 109, 109. 109 comes to Parliament. That's why I mentioned the thing of Parliament a few weeks ago. It also comes to my channel, Psych.Club. It also comes to the word 17. So, yeah. So Diana Spencer, add them together, comes to 109, comes to the word 17, also comes to the word Zapruder. So you got the Zapruder film with JFK, etc. in 63. But it's so, when I discovered that, I had a wonderful, I smiled just like you did, because my backstory all started with realizing that Diana, her funeral service time was at 9:08 in the morning. 9 + 8 is 17. Then I realized her burial plot, her fountain garden in, her water feature garden in Hyde Park, and then JFK Jr.'s burial plot, etc. So that was just very interesting, because they had the little fire down in Westminster 2 Sundays ago. I get there, it's all gone. I do some numbers on it and figure out a few things. They got the flashing light at 17 stories up. I realize across the water you got the huge millennial wheel, which is Q. And I think I need to research this, but I might be misspeaking. I don't think I am. I think there's something to it. Apparently the eye, or the millennial, there's something about ISIS, and there's an ISIS down in Hyde Park where Diana's water feature is, etc. So I thought that was really interesting. I know you like Diana.
Yeah,
that was one of the ones that came up a few days ago, which was cool. So she actually, 17.
Yeah.
Diana Spencer comes to 17, 109, but the actual word 17, which is what we've just said it is. So.
Yeah, well, my mum's family grew up on the Spencer estate.
There you go.
It's all.
And you were did you grow up in Althorpe yourself, or near Althorpe?
Althorpe is where Diana grew up. That was her family home, the Spencer estate.
Yeah.
Althorpe estate. I grew up about 5 or 6 miles from there.
Well, it's pretty close then. It's not far, is it? Considering the size of the earth that we know of.
But the numbers have been, since we did that show, I've just been seeing some crazy numbers. I've sent some to you on WhatsApp. But did I tell you about the 2 of my poems that I've got a poem called Where We Go 1, which is about Q, and one called The Best Is Yet to Come, which is about DJT. Where We Go 1 was stuck on 17,000 views for about a week. and the Best Is Yet to Come was stuck on 45,000 views at the same time for about.
There you go.
And
this
is how we're being communicated with.
Yes.
And this is the AI, if you like, the Matrix. This is how the universe actually works. But because we're inside the Matrix, these numbers are codes and communications with us that we can't fully understand yet, because we can't see most of us can't currently see what's beyond the Matrix. Is probably the easiest way of describing it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. The other thing as well, Mark, with that is you talked about the views, etc., on your channel. Do you remember when we did our first episode, and you said at the time your channel had been banned, and it had been paused, but your number of subscribers at the time was 1.85. 185 is Donald John Trump that we spoke about in that episode, and we also spoke about 107.
Yeah.
And you at the time had 107 videos on your channel that you'd uploaded. Both of them there. And then about a day or two later, it's like we got the message, and then because I think you said you were expecting it to switch back on in April, then all of a sudden a day or two later, it was back going. So
it said 19th of April. You're off to the 19th of April. I was like, shit. So
we got the message, and then they're like, all right, got message received. You can carry on.
I know. It's just hilarious. And then they took down a video of mine last night, which was the first chat I put up with Mel K in December, and they said it was because it was a scam. And I was like, what? It was a conversation. So I appealed and said that video in no way was representing any kind of scam.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And then they literally came back within 2 minutes saying, yeah, we've reviewed it again, which obviously they hadn't, and we are not going to put that content back up. And I was like, it's all very strange.
It's all nonsense, isn't it?
But I completely trust it, and I don't care. I mean, this is not about the only numbers I'm interested in are the ones where we're being communicated with. I don't give a shit about subscribers or views or anything. It's not what I did this for. But it's
all communication.
It's just very interesting because I'm looking at those numbers a lot. But 322 keeps coming up again and again and again. It's everywhere for me. 322, 322. I know.
Did you see it in that? Well, let me pull it up. I think I got a screenshot of it in that Dark Knight video. There's a 322 in there.
Ooh.
Yeah. Another thing as well with Diana and her I guess the water feature memorial in Hyde Park for her. So Hyde Park is a central park in London for those that are, maybe live out of the UK, etc. But Hyde Park comes to, when you add it together, it comes to 88, which is Trump. And so there you've got Diana's feature there in Hyde Park, which is Trump. And incidentally, my local park, Regent's comes to 88. So
it's funny how none of these numbers add up to Biden.
There are some that come up to actually someone. I saw this before because I'm naturally an optimistic, so I don't look. I don't kind of go around looking around corners for the bad ones. But obviously, they have numeric value as well. And the thing with that is, I've noticed. It's a good point you bring up, Mark, because I've mentioned this on a couple of videos recently. But people have been saying in the comments that they, someone being clever and they pull it up. So Joseph Biden comes to 107, which is Trump's, and then it's like, well, you've got him. Trump's got him in his back pocket, And the studio, Castle Rock, where they're filming all this White House optics, comes to 107. And that's in California. California comes to 88, which is Trump. And so it just continues. The more you delve into it, and all numbers are inherently good. But the bad hats knew, they kind of intrinsically know where the strong, powerful numbers are on the board. I'll give you another example. So Big Ben is known as Elizabeth Tower. That's the technical name for it.
You said that a minute ago. I've never heard it be called that before.
Yeah, so that's the technical name for it. I think it was renamed maybe, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago, whatever. But they're doing a refit on the clock, and it looks nice, actually. You can see the golden clock. It looks, it looks nice for a golden age, new times. But so Elizabeth Tower actually comes to Trump Tower. So Elizabeth is 88. Now, there's lots of people in the world called Elizabeth, and they're good people, and so, but 88 is a strong number, and Elizabeth is a strong name. So there's no coincidence. Joseph is a good strong name.
Well,
comes to 73. What's that?
My son's called Joseph. I've got no problem with the name.
Exactly.
Joseph.
My brother's called Joseph. My sister's middle name is Elizabeth. So it's just, this is the whole thing with it. It's like infiltration. You can't necessarily tell what's right from wrong initially. And then this is what this whole COVID thing is. People can see the darkness, and if they if they have their eyes open, or if they start to open their eyes, but things are simultaneously going one way and then the other. So the old guard is going, and then the new one is coming in. And that's what Christopher Nolan's film Tenet is all about, time reversal.
Yeah, I still haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah, watch it. You'll love it, Mark. It's very,
no, I really
you'll probably
want to
be
watch
like,
it.
well, what was that? But then you watch it again and again.
I love films like that.
Yeah, and but it's amazing. Some other ones that came up this week it's probably international, I'm sure it is. So TomMoore. So TomMoore, the old gentleman that's been doing the laps around the garden.
Yeah.
So some interesting ones on him came up. So the narrative, what's happened is he was raising money for charity for the NHS, etc. And he's kind of the darling. Out of the Q world, he's the darling of England, everyone's all sad that he's passed, etc. So he had COVID, the next day he's died. But they kept putting these newspaper articles up with the name Tom in there. So obviously I see that. And that's another way for people to go and get numbers and codes. One is supermarkets. So when you see all the prices, it used to be, $1.99, $5.99, £1.50, those sorts of divisions. But now you've got every number on the board almost. You've got 88, you've got 185, you've got 245, you've got £1.70, you've got 177, you've got all kinds. So just go into Tesco or something and you'll see it, and you'll see all these ones. And anyway, you pick out your numbers that you like and you'll see them there. Another one is you go and see the front headlines of newspapers. And I think I said this maybe before, but the tabloids with the pictures and the big bold headlines are the best ones for the codes. So the Star, the Sun, the Mirror, the Express, and the Mail are good, and even the big, Times and Telegraph, etc. They all have codes, but the big ones are really good. So there's one that I found just, I guess it was 2 days ago, about TomMoore. So TomMoore is the old gentleman. He's 100 years old. He's passed of COVID.
Hang on. He's not passed of COVID. He passed it being 101 years old and had
exactly. Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's what's reported. That's what's reported.
Good. I'll just clarify
that. Here we go. Look at this one, Mark. So this is the date. Well, this is probably the day that he passed. So if you can see that, hang on.
Pray for Tom.
Pray for Tom. Okay. So there were multiple headlines like this throughout the week as this narrative of TomMoore was being shown. So, but the interesting thing about this is when you add up the numbers, so pray for Tom comes to 147. 147 also comes to the trump card. Yeah, comes to the trump card. Now, I've been thinking about this. What could that perhaps be? One of the other numbers that came up within the week was 165. 165 is Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed 165 also comes to resurrection. Now, President Trump has been going on about that all the time. Operation Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed. And it's like that's quite a fancy name, isn't it, for kind of this whole vaccine thing and healing people, etc. But there was a point, and people may remember this, but if you go back to the campaign that he had prior to the election, so his campaigning, he was on a television show. I don't remember what the television show was, but it was actually POTUS was in there. He was in the television studio with the host, and then there was a few people in the audience, not many, but there was a few. And there was an American Latino lady, and she was expressing that her mother had passed because of COVID. Okay. And President Trump's listening. POTUS is nodding his head, and he's really showing a lot of empathy and just letting her speak and take it on as she's telling him for maybe a couple of minutes. He's like, so she had the COVID. He's like, yes, and President, and she's all of it. And then towards the end of it, he acknowledges all of that, and he says, well, you know what we could do? We could give her a shot. We could give her a transfusion, give her do all this, and she'd be right as she'd be. And he's talking in the present tense as though the woman is still alive. Oh. And that was on national television. And I'm like, hang on, that's him talking about future things in terms of the technologies, the resurrection, bringing people back to life. And I'm like, he just did that. The president of the United States did that on live television and just listened to the woman. Her mother had passed. Yeah, we're going to bring her back to life, basically. He just said, yeah, we'll do this. We'll do a transfusion and she'll be right. She'll be well again. I'm like, that was just big comms. And so Operation Warp Speed, I believe, one of the things about it is this whole thing of resurrecting people. It's not just curing them from COVID or the flu. This is a big thing we're going to see more of once he's back in office. So that was another set of codes that came through. But yeah, and I've got a bit more on the film we're doing a bit. But yeah, well, there were some interesting numbers that came up this week, Mark.
Well, when all this is over, we should set up a chain of esoteric bingo halls. When they pick up the numbers, and you just define, instead of getting a prize, you just define what they've got.
Exactly.
I mean, I know that some people watching this will be like, it's all nonsense, doesn't make any sense. But, why have you got a president talking in present tense about somebody who's just been told that's dead? Why have you got a book called The Adventures of Baron Trump, Ingersoll Lockwood, 1890s, 1900, talking about the last president of the United States being a guy from New York called Don? Why have you got all this stuff about Nikola Tesla, John G. Trump, time travel paper Tesla published in 1927? John G. Trump worked with him. This is definitely happening, right? As far as but then people are like, but numbers, blah blah blah. And we just talked about like the YouTube channel being stopped at a certain time or things happening. And I was this, and you said an interesting line there. You said the numbers on the board, right?
Mm.
So and then this metaphor of 5D chess has been going on a long time now. And I was thinking the other day that firstly, like when I play chess, sacrificing the queen is something that you often do. The most powerful piece on the board. You sometimes allow it to be taken because you can see a way for it back in and you have an advantage down the line, but it makes you look weak to the opponent. And that's exactly why Trump's been taken off the board, because you've got that going on. But then I was thinking just a little bit deeper about this. And every one of us is a piece in this chess game. That's what people need to understand. Every single one of us is part of this matrix, and we're all part of the same consciousness. So almost every action that you take and everything that you're doing and everything you're noticing around you is part of the game, as part of this battle, which is why it's where we go one, where we go all, because it's not about, you know, people say, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing anything to help in this battle. Well, actually you are, because your consciousness is helping. We are multidimensional beings, and we are this 3D manifestation version of us right now, trying to discuss it and communicate is really on a 3D level, but it's also on a 5D level. And, you know, we are literally part of the chessboard, and it's not just this flat chessboard with a number of pieces on. There's billions of pieces on this chessboard, trillions, with a permutation for every single possible thought, action, emotion. That
all things are possible.
Yeah, and that's what's so exciting to me, because getting through the other side of this and fully understanding that, I can almost taste it. You know, I can feel this thing coming, and it's why your emotions and your energies will be up and down. And it's also why it's not worth just scrambling around for information, because it's coming anyway.
Yeah, it's coming. Just open your eyes, start to read it, start to feel it, you know, and it's coming. It's everywhere.
Oh, it is. It's in the walls. It's in the. I'm getting it all the time, and this is why. This is why I'm suddenly going, oh God, I need to sleep, and just literally gone. And it's not because I'm getting old. It's because that's what's happening, and it's
a big download, isn't it? It's a conscious download.
Yeah.
And the word download again is 88, which is Trump. It's a download, and when you go through those moments, sometimes it can be quite physically tiring or draining, and then you're back again, because you're defragging, everything's getting reassimilated, and you're internalizing the downloads. I remember a period of time, 2018, I was doing some other, way before, 2019, I should say. I was doing some Psych-K work, which is interesting, and that was really quite, like you've just described. I'd be in the class, I'd be taking on the information, and then just would go home, and that was it. I just had to chill because it was so much. It was great. It was amazing, and it was really blissful and peaceful. But it was just, whoa! I just had to rest. You know.
Yeah. Well, 325 days in lockdown, biggest spiritual quarantine in history, biggest event in history coming up fairly soon.
Yes.
I'm hearing maybe this weekend.
I know. Well, that's what this is what this film is about. This clip is about, Mark. So we could go into that.
Yeah. Now we can show this without copyright issues, because I've not monetized, so that should be okay.
Yeah, I'm not either. So
do you want to probably hold the phone? It might be the easiest.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. So
so you're talking about the Dark Knight Rises, aren't you?
Yes.
Or is it all of them?
Exactly right. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Dark. Well, it's all of them. All of them have a piece, but this is in particular came up today. So there's a lady on our group, Liz Bless. She helps Charlie with. She's been a guest on there. She helps with Charlie's kind of behind the scenes, etc. She made a point about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's this weekend.
Yeah, Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, Sunday. Now there's a lot to this.
Traditionally, by the way, used for mass satanic rituals in the like Madonna as a Baphomet and J-Lo and everything else in the middle. I mean, they use that massive audience.
Yeah.
And I don't see how Trump can resist this, because it's big numbers, right? Big numbers.
Big numbers, exactly. Our man has got it. He's got it. So there's a few interesting. You mentioned Trump. So the actual word sport comes to 88, which is Trump as well. So, but in the Dark Knight Rises, we can put a link. When we put all our links, we can put a link to the actual clip. But if you remember the third part of the Dark Knight series, there's a famous part where there's an American football stadium. It's in New York, and it's a college game, as far as I understand. And well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just
it was
just a made-up team. It's a made-up team.
It was in a stadium.
Well, the college teams have massive anyway. That's what I mean. So in the States, you go to a college game. I went to one a few years ago.
The mayor was there.
It was 120. I think it was at 80. It was bigger than Old Trafford.
Wow.
And this was a college game. It was Kentucky, I believe, against Oklahoma Sooners, and it was in Norman, Oklahoma, about 2012 or 2013, something like that. But anyway, but it's a game taking place, and Bane the baddie is there, and they've done a few things to set it up. But this is what I noticed. So Liz has drawn attention to this game taking place, and she said the whole thing of GameStop last week. Remember GameStop with the stock market? Yeah. Now, a lot of people picked up on that. Stopping the game. Games are fun. Mel K said, games are fun. Stopping the game. Yep. So that's an obvious one for people to see. And then Liz brought it up. Well, maybe there'll be something at half time. Maybe they'll stop the game. And I was like, good. So I started looking into this, and these are the things that came up. So I pulled that clip up, and I'm going to show this. So right at the end of this optic, you see the guy running with the football, the American football, and basically the field of play disintegrates behind him. So they start blowing up the actual pitch of the stadium. And interestingly enough, your number 322 that you see a lot is I think it's like the VIP kind of presidential box in the stadium, and that gets blown as well. But it's like a small explosion, but that takes out that box, and it's 322. Which anyway, so this is what I noticed. The quarterback or the runner, the guy with the ball. This is him. So this is a blown up version, and it's number 86. But can you see the name on the back of the player?
Ward.
Okay. Now that got me thinking. I was like, there's a few Wards, but we've got good old Charlie Ward for starters.
Yeah,
okay.
But don't forget Robin was Batman's Ward.
Exactly. I was going to you just took it out of my mouth. I was just about to do it. Yeah. But he was, exactly. So this whole Batman
thing. That word you don't really hear that word anymore, because it's quite an old fashioned word used in that context, isn't it?
Yeah. And also the guy that played him, I think his name was Burt Ward.
That's right.
The actor. So you had Adam West, and then you had Burt Ward.
Burt Ward, who became a porn star after that.
Did he?
Yeah.
There you go.
Because Robin had a big codpiece. Do you remember?
He did, didn't he? He did. And also, even the optics of the R. So R, in the community, JFK Jr. is quite often referred to as R. And you'll see it on a lot of the Twitters, etc. So R for Junior. And you got it there. And I've already said before, and President Trump said it in certain things, he's Batman. You've got Wayne Tower. You've got Trump Tower, the millionaire playboy of vigilante at night.
Charlie Freak was saying this to me last night. It's so funny. We had an interview last night, and Batman popped into my head. Then we started talking about this, and he started saying that Trump is Batman. And I was like,
he is.
Yeah,
he is. me and Charlie Ward did a couple on that in the summer about him being Batman, and he literally is. He literally is. And then I found out there's subsequent clips of Trump, many, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, where I think it's maybe one of his grandchildren. They're in looks like either a private jet or I don't know, a vehicle of some description or a transport device of some description. And the child says to him, "You're Batman." And he goes, "Yes, I am." And then there's another clip apparently where he's asked about being Batman, where he comes into some kind of, he's coming out of a car and he's going into, I don't know, Trump Tower or another building or a courthouse or something. And again, he's asked, there's a reference to being Batman. And also, and I didn't even know this, I'm a big fan of the Christopher Nolan films, but right at the beginning of Dark Knight Rises, the tower that Bruce Wayne is in, so Wayne Tower, is actually Trump Tower. And they use that. It's just for a second, a couple of seconds. You wouldn't even know because you can't see it's Trump Tower, but the actual building is Trump Tower.
Well, if the Trumps are time travelers, it's quite possible that they could have created Batman in the 1930s under the pseudonym Bob Kane.
Exactly. And get this one, Mark. So, talking of DC superheroes, Superman comes to 107, which is Trump's, which is currency, which is military, which is quantum, which is the word 20. Get this one. You remember the optics right at the beginning of President Trump's campaign to become president, when he came down the escalators. Yep. You got currency exchange at the top.
Yep.
Currency exchange, when you add it up, comes to 174. It also comes to Luke Skywalker. And it also comes to trust the plan. So you've got it right there at the beginning. Charlie Ward always says, trust the plan, trust the plan. Q says, trust the plan. And it's right there.
It's right there.
Currency exchange, reset it.
Yeah.
Because the word exchange comes to 67, which is reset. The word currency comes to 107, which is Trump. So it's currency exchange, it's Trump's reset, it's Luke Skywalker, and it's trust the plan. So they use folklore, historical myths, popular culture icons, Batman, Superman, Luke Skywalker, all of these things are fully on the board in regards to this with the Q team and with President Trump.
And that shot of him coming down the escalators was shown in The Simpsons as well, years before.
Exactly.
And
exactly. This has been prophesied. Since we started this virtual reality game or simulation or this just beautiful game of life that we've been going through for thousands of years, all of this stuff was done.
Yeah,
way
done.
Then. It was all done.
It was probably you. You probably did it because we're all one consciousnness. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, you and me have got the same name. Mark Attwood, Tom Bushnell, both come to 141, which is plutonium, which is looking glass. So you and me, Mark, got our tapes on Batman and Robin, went back into time with JFK and John G. Trump and Tesla, and
Okay, why not? I've got one question. What the fuck's it got to do with Luke Skywalker?
Well, I just brought him out because, Luke Skywalker is the chosen. He's the figure of Star Wars, isn't he?
I've got a good story about Luke Skywalker. Do you want to hear it?
Okay.
So he's in a Chinese with Yoda once. First time he's ever been out for a Chinese, and he's having real trouble with the chopsticks because he's never used them before. So Yoda looks at him and says, "Use the fork, Luke."
You know what Yoda comes to?
My house every Friday for a beer.
Does he? Comes to 45, Mark. Yoda comes to 45.
Yeah, 45, big number. I keep
45th
seeing 45.
President.
I see 45 and 17 literally the 20
every day, all the time.
20, 30 times a day. I'm not joking.
Time.
I'm not joking. I'm not looking for it. And the thing about these numbers, anybody who doesn't see numbers, you have to understand that if you try to look for them, you can't see them. I'm talking about the synchronicity numbers now, right? You can see a pattern in something and interpret it, but if you deliberately look and sit there waiting for 9/11 to come, it's not going to happen. It has to happen like spontaneously because that's how we get the communications.
Yeah, you'll get those simultaneous or spontaneous flashes of data of the numbers. They'll come up, but this thing with the Super Bowl, Mark. So we saw the picture of 86 and Ward.
Yeah.
So I looked at that. So this caught my attention. Okay. So get this. Ward is 46. It's also dove. Okay. There's a famous picture of President Trump with a dove, and you've got the whole thing in Christian history about the sign of the dove, etc., with Christ and John the Baptist, the sign of the dove. Okay. So President Trump has that. You'll notice throughout his history, he's got one about Moses. He's a young athlete, and he's got staff of Moses, etc., on his T-shirt when he's at college or high school. But there's a lot of those things when you look back at his timeline. But anyway, so Ward comes to 46. It's also atomic palladium, and palladium is a play, where all this goes on, etc. But 46 plus 86 comes to 132, and that comes to Princess Diana. Okay. So there's going to be a lot here, but you'll see how it all fits together. 86 is also the value for the word 19. Okay. It's also the value for the word statue. So 86 comes to 19. It also comes to statue. But if you play with it a little bit more, you do 46 plus 19. The number 19 gets you to 65. 65 comes to a few things. It comes to the number 7, comes to Prince, comes to Andrew, comes to a few things. Okay. Now, if you do 132 plus 65, that comes to 186. Okay. President Trump famously said in his last one of his, it was his penultimate speech, I believe, the last one he did in the White House. He said this phrase, he said, luck, a very important word. That comes to 186. So that's one of the last pieces of communication that we had from President Trump. If you take it a bit further, you've got, where do we get to? Here. So there's quite a few things significant about this. there's a phrase that's mentioned in that clip where Bane, Tom Hardy, says, "Let the games begin."
Yeah.
That's a bit Yodelish.
Let the games begin.
Now, there's another phrase as well where masked up, exactly. There's always a mask in these films. There's another one with Charles Dance, and he says it at the end of, I think it's Van Helsing, says, "Let the games begin." So that's a thing that's kind of put around.
That was the last Dracula film. Yeah.
And he was obviously Tywin in Game of Thrones, etc. And there's a lot of stuff in Game of Thrones. All these big things that there's loads in them. So anyway, "Let the games begin" comes to 152. 152 can be a few things, but I see it quite often because it's a date, and that's 15th second, so 15th of February, and that's actually my birthday. So I see that a lot. But then when you add them together, 15 plus 2 comes to 17, which is Q.
Did I do my birthday with you last time?
Maybe not. I'm not sure.
1304 17.
There you go. See, you're 1 for 1, and I'm 1 for 1. There you go. See, it's right there, buddy. And then
it's great.
if you extrapolate this further, so February the 15th, okay, the word February comes to 96, which comes to GameStop. Okay, GameStop happened right at the end of January, so it was like a pre kind of cursor of what we're going to go into. So it's like right at the end of January, GameStop, and then we're going into the month of GameStop, which is 96. I did the light table with Huna Flash and Mel and Dave Mahoney and all the others 2 or 3 days ago. Some interesting numbers came out with that. So light table comes to 96. Atlantis comes to 96. Spaceship comes to 96. The great actor Mel Gibson and film director Braveheart, 96. Jared Kushner, Ivanka's husband, comes to 96. There's a lot of those things in the month of February, 96. But then if you take it further, so you do February the 15th comes to 222, and we've been told to follow the twos. Okay, even in the film Dirty Dancing, which is a Q film, it got re-released in the summer. That's the clue that it's a Q film.
Oh,
in there they talk about following the twos.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, all the old films that got re-released when cinemas have been closed for lockdown, they showed Empire Strikes Back. They didn't show the other ones. They just showed Empire Strikes Back.
That's the best one.
Both Terminator films, all of the Harry Potters, all of the Lord of the Rings. Notting Hill was another Q film, and Dirty Dancing. And I thought both of those were just chick flicks. Honestly, they're like 2 of my top 10 films right now. Dirty Dancing, it was amazing. But they talk about it in there following the twos. So February the 15th is a 222. But guess what else is in February is another 222. February the 7th, which is this Sunday, the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. That is also 222. So the word 7th comes to, it's 7, it's 65 plus TH, takes you to 93. 93, incidentally, is my last name, Bushnell. So you've got February the 7th comes to 222. So it's very important. So I was like, okay, I know 222 and the dates on the board are important. So then I looked further. This game is going to be played at a stadium called Raymond James. Okay. Raymond comes to 90. I don't know if you saw last year with Hugh Grant in the film The Gentleman. That was a great film.
I haven't watched that. That's
a really good
Guy Ritchie film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. It's very good. And
so I get a bit, I have a little. So because I've read esoteric Hollywood and stuff like that, and I think this is worth interrupting you slightly, because there are people like Guy Ritchie who made some of my favorite lines, some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
However, he also made the Sherlock films with the extremely dodgy Robert Downey Jr., which are full of satanic references. And he was married to Madonna, who is a satanic high priestess. So I think the reason why I've not watched The Gentleman is because I'm like, you know what? I know that he's involved in that in some way, and I just don't want to go near it.
Yeah.
However, what you're talking about is it's beyond the director. It's beyond the control of, So I just think that some people might bring that up. So I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. And maybe I hear all that, and maybe guys, I don't know, but that film is a really good film. And I think, but in one of the parts in there, Again, Hugh Grant is in Notting Hill, but Hugh Grant is in the film The Gentleman. But the reason I mention it is there's a character played by Charlie Huffman called Raymond, and Hugh Grant plays this brilliant character. He's like, Raymond, and he keeps saying it, Raymond. So anyway, Raymond has come up on the board now. Okay, so it's called the Raymond James Stadium. Yesterday or the day before, are you a football fan, Mark?
Soccer? I dabble.
Okay, you dabble. So
I used to dribble. Now I dabble.
There you go. Now you might remember just 2 days ago. What are we today? Thursday. So it was Tuesday night, I believe. Manchester United played Southampton Football Club, and the score was 9-0.
What?
9-0. Yeah.
In a Premier League match.
In a Premier League match, and it's happened actually a couple of times. I think it was 9-1 Southampton Leicester about 18 months ago. But anyway, 9-0. So that's a big score. And all the backs of the papers, Sport, Trump on the back of the newspaper, kept saying all references to nines. And there was a whole bunch of codes on that. And that's a little mini episode we could do another time. But the thing that is important right now is 9-0 looks like 90. Yeah. When you look at 9-0, and you had it all on the back pages, you know, the mirror, the sun, the star, etc. Interestingly enough, it comes to our friend Huna Flash. And I had just done that call earlier in the day with him and Mel and Dave and everyone else. And then that score happens, and then the newspapers show it. And I said to Huna, I was like, you're in the papers today because 90. So that comes to Huna Flash. But anyway, so Raymond, and then James, the name James, comes to 48, which is Tom. It's also Zim. Okay, so these are important things I just want to point out. Raymond James, the name of the stadium, 90 plus 48 comes to 138, and 138 comes to Donald Trump. So it's the Donald Trump Stadium they're going to play the Super Bowl in this weekend. Also, some other values for 138 comes to revaluation, comes to Dome of the Rock. When you add stadium, the word stadium comes to 87, which comes to Alpa Sony. And I just did an episode with Alpa just 5-6 days ago. And there were some numbers of 87 and Tom on the TomMoore thing about a day or two later after we released the video. So she was at the top. I can't remember what the word was called, but it came to 87, and then the name Tom was below. And I pointed out and said, look at this, darling, this is how it works. So you've got the Donald Trump Stadium. Stellar is also the crypto coin, XLM, etc. Stellar, 87. So that's there on the board. But then it's being played in a place called Tampa, Florida. Now, Tampa, are you all right, Mark? Do you want a breather? I know there's a lot here, but...
No, I just had a breath because I realised I hadn't breathed for about 2 minutes, and I went...
Everyone take a breath, because now we're at the peak, and now we're going to go...
Try to keep up.
So, Tampa...
I've been there.
In Florida, comes to 51. 51 comes to Gisara, and it also comes to BatMan. Okay? Yes, it comes to BatMan. Florida, again, comes to 65, which is 7, which is Prince, etc. Again, when you add the 46 plus the number 19, we already extrapolated the 86 on the back of the NFL player's shirt. His name is Ward, 86. 86, when you spell it out, is actually when you say 19, the word 19 equals 86. So you can flip those over. So when you do 46 plus 19, come to 65 again, so this is another point to this stadium that they're playing the game in. Then you take it further, Super Bowl. The word super, we've already mentioned Superman. The word super comes to 79, comes to a few things. One of them is William, okay? Got the whole Diana thing, William. It's also atomic gold. So atomic gold is number 79. The word bowl is 52, which comes to hearts, comes to earth as well. Super Bowl 79 plus 52 comes to 131. At the end of Back to the Future 3, just as they're about to go over the ravine and go back and do the last time travel, penultimate time travel, the name of that train, the number of the train is 131, right at the end of the Back to the Future trilogy. And you understand all this with Back to the, you just mentioned it to me a few minutes ago. Yeah. But 131 comes to John F. Kennedy. Mm-hmm. So the Super Bowl is 131, it's John F. Kennedy, and they're playing it in Trump Stadium.
Do you think we're going to get Oh.
Who knows?
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I got the tingle then.
Right, you got the tingle. You got the tingle there, Mark.
Yeah.
So then you take it further, okay, and it's the 55th Super Bowl. So if you do Super Bowl 55, that comes up to where do we get to? Yeah, that comes to 186, and that was the number I said earlier in regards to the two values for that name of the shirt. So the name of the shirt is Ward, which is 46 plus 86, and then you've got the other one which is Ward and 19, because 86 equals, well, the word 19 equals 86. So you get the two values for that, and they come up to 186. So you've got, I'll just recap. So Ward plus 86. Here you go. So just for everyone again, just so we take a breather, this is the guy after the optics in the stadiums happens. So it's Ward 86. Okay. So just to recap what we did a few minutes ago, Ward 46 plus 86 comes to 132, which is Princess Diana. The word 19, when you spell it out, comes to the value of 86. So what we'll do in this case is we'll keep Ward and we'll add 19. That gives you the number of 65, which we mentioned earlier, which comes to 7, comes to Andrew, comes to Prince, etc. You add 132, Princess Diana, plus 7, or the word 7, or Andrew or Prince, comes to 186. And 186 is Super Bowl 55. Now, 55 also is the word for heaven, and it's also the word for Melania. So we're in the Donald Trump Stadium.
Yeah.
Super Bowl comes to 131, which is John F. Kennedy. We've had the whole GameStop thing. And as Liz beautifully pointed out, perhaps we get a GameStop at halftime. Perhaps, like you said, Trump probably can't avoid the beauty and temptation of that one. And there's just another little piece to it. Actually, there was something else I was going to say that I popped. Oh, here it is. So American football. Yeah, so there's a little bit more on it. So where's it gone? American football. Guess what that comes to, Mark?
88.
Close. You're along the right lines, buddy. So American comes to 64. 64 comes to a few things. One of them is Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film. Okay, and we're talking about another Christopher Nolan film, the BatMan, the third one. It also comes to Jubilee, the word Jubilee. Okay.
Debt Jubilee.
Yes, Golden Jubilee. Golden Jubilee comes to 121. The date, the 4th, when you spell out the 4th, whether that's March 4th for hopefully President Trump's re-inauguration then, old Constitution, or even July the 4th, or just the 4th, the word the 4th comes to 121, 1.21 gigawatts. Golden Jubilee. Okay. Yeah. Football comes to 83, which is Mount, which is prayer. Talked about Mel Gibson, you've got the actor Jim Caviezel. Caviezel comes to 83. But you add American football, comes to 147. That comes to the Trump card, which we spoke about earlier. The Trump card comes to 147. So you can see how all of this circles in on itself. This is another piece to it. Kansas City Chiefs, which is one of the teams, comes to 172. The other team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, comes to 170. What is the number between 170 and 172? What's the missing number in the middle?
171.
Exactly, 171. 171 comes to a bolt of lightning. Doc Brown says it in Back to the Future. 1.21 gigawatts, a bolt of lightning, and he repeats it. So, and then Mike says, "What did you say? A bolt of lightning?" Because the plutonium's gone. You and me have gone temporarily. We've got to come back into history. So they need to get another time source. Another power source, which is a bolt of lightning.
Yep.
And guess what else comes to a bolt of lightning? Or 171. The revaluation.
That's a word you mentioned earlier, and some people might not know what that means, because a lot of people who have been aware of this stuff for a long time have been waiting for a revaluation for some people for 20 years more.
Yeah.
This Nasara thing's been around for a long time.
Yes.
Revaluation basically relates to all currencies being on a level playing field, which Donald Trump actually said while he was in office. He said it all needs to be on a level playing field because they've been manipulating currency crisis for hundreds of years in order to create poverty in countries, because they see us as a chessboard. And, you know, and they, you know, countries in Africa, for example, that are in poverty, are only in poverty because it's been designed that way.
Yeah.
So people need to understand that's why the revaluation is
deliberate poverty, isn't it?
It's deliberate. Everything's deliberate. You know, your standard of living is 100% being controlled by the cabal for hundreds of years. So this RV, or revaluation, I'm just explaining that to people who don't know what it is a very big thing to a number of people. And there's a lot of people out there, including me, that have ZIM, which is Zimbabwe dollars, because in Zimbabwe, they're getting $100 trillion notes. And some people within the movement are expecting to be able to trade those $100 trillion notes in for not necessarily parity, but for an amount. But what's interesting about it
is to help with humanitarian projects and things, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The interesting thing about it is you won't get the money if your intention is not good. If it's all about you making money, they won't give you the money. Yeah. And this 100% ties into the quantum financial system.
Exactly.
Which all ties into everything Tom's just said, because this is all the quantum era that we're going into. Yeah. And all that really means is that we will start to, as a species, start to understand what quantum actually means.
Yeah.
What quantum physics
quantum and again, quantum equals 107, which is Trump's, you know, so he's got all of those things in it, in his name. And another thing, you just hit upon a point, Mark, so that's very good, very on point. One of the things that Liz mentioned as well, a little bit later, was this order 13848, an executive order 13848, and it caught my attention again because of the numbers in it. And it's the one about, I think it's the one about foreign election, no interference, etc. But anyway, it came up in the same kind of thread that she was mentioning, this thing with the Super Bowl. So I did the numbers on that. Now, 138, as we mentioned a little earlier, comes to Donald Trump. It comes to the name of the stadium that they're playing in, the Raymond, forgotten the second half of it now. What is it? The Raymond, where is it?
Is it in Florida, did you say?
Yes, yeah, it's in Florida. So it's the Raymond James Stadium. That's the name of it. That comes to 138. Sorry.
It's also interesting that it's in Florida, because that's
where the Winter White House is right now. Isn't it?
Everything's like Florida is the true America right now, because it's you know, they're not wearing masks, they're not doing vaccines.
Yeah. It's warm.
Yeah, beautiful place.
Winter's over. Winter's coming. It's here. But it's not down there, you know.
I lived there 25 years ago for a bit. It's beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah. But the thing about that, so that order, that executive order 13848. So if you just, you know, the way you would say it, like I've just said it, 13848. 138 again is Donald Trump. It's the Raymond James Stadium. It's revaluation. And 48 is my name, Tom. It's the name James, but it's also Zim. So it's revaluation Zim. It's Donald Trump Zim, revaluation Zim. The order 13848 is Zim revaluation. And he's talked about 100 trillions in some of his comms, you know. So we're going into this new world, people. We're going into this golden age, this Jubilee era, this peace on earth for 1,000 years, the millennium, the Trump millennium. It's all coming, you know. And I welcome it.
Big
and
tingle.
I'm excited for it.
Big tingle. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Nearest tingle, right down the legs. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign, buddy. It is. It's
when you see me move like this, you know I'm getting a big tingle.
Yeah. Oh, you said your poem, "The Best Is Yet to Come."
Yeah.
So get this one, Mark. So the best is yet to come. You break it out and down into the two words. The best is comes to, again, 107, which is Trump's. Okay. Yet to come comes to 121, which is Revelation. It's the 4th, like we said a few minutes ago, the 4th. Now, hopefully that's the 4th of March, or perhaps maybe the 4th of July. That's a big one. Today is the 4th. We're in 121 right now, Mark. We're in a version of 121. We're Revelation. We're talking about the numbers. So the best is yet to come is your poem, and it's a phrase from President Trump. You did it on Sky, didn't you? Sky is 55. Sky is Melania.
Yeah, it was on Sky. It was on Sky TV.
It was on Sky TV.
No, Sky Sports.
Sky Sports, yeah, Sky Sports. And so Sky, there you go. That is Sky Sports equals Melania Trump. It equals 143. So Sky and Cloud and Heaven and December and Melania all come to 55. It's the 55th Super Bowl this Sunday, and Sport comes to 88. So that'd be Melania Trump. But if you Sky Sports with the S, you would add the S on top, so that would come to 162. Yeah. So it's all there, Mark. So that
it is
yet to come is 121 is Revelation, and hopefully it's March. So if you do the 4th of March, the word fourth, when you spell it out, comes to 88, which is Trump.
Mm-hmm.
March 4th, you know, all the predictions in the Bible and scriptures, you know, marching forth, the banner of God, all of that, you know, the trump of the last days. So you've got the 4th of March, that is 33, which is Don. So Don Trump is the 4th.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, the Don, or Don Trump is the 4th. And then Av is 21. And then March is 43, which is Mark. And I've been told I've got a name Mark as well in this whole spiritual game. So the 4th of March comes to 185, which is Donald John Trump. So we'll see all people, but everything is focusing in on big things happening.
Well, you know, I've not done the numbers, but I feel it. I've felt it.
You've got the tingles, yeah. You've got the spider sense.
I can. It's palpable, and it's like everything's kind of still, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it all concurs with everything I'm feeling, and all the knowledge, and you know, in many ways, don't get hung up on dates. Even though we've mentioned dates, because often things happen on the dates that you don't see.
Yes.
So this is something that's important, because people say, "Oh, nothing happened last Saturday." Well, yeah, loads happened last Saturday. You just haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that. So I've never watched the Super Bowl because I find American football really boring. But I'm going to watch it this Sunday.
See what happens. Tune in. The other thing as well, you say about dates. So this is an interesting one. So today's Thursday. Okay. March the 4th will be a Thursday. And let me just double check. I think I looked at this one. I just want to remember correctly. I hope I did, but let me just check. So today is a Thursday. March the 4th is a Thursday. And also, no, July 4th isn't. July 4th is a Sunday. So today and the next one are both on a Thursday. Thurs comes from Thor, storm, etc. But just THURS, Thurs comes to 67. 67 is reset. 67 is also exchange, currency exchange, right at the top of the escalators. So we'll see what comes. And even in January 21st, the day after the inauguration, which I thought perhaps it could be, you know, 1.21 gigawatts, that was a Thursday as well. So Thursday, this whole thing with the storm 118. I had a very special marker in terms of my cousin Paul that had passed in 2015. His date of birth was 118, January 18th. And he was the first experience of the numbers I had when I met Ivanka Trump in Manhattan. Manhattan comes to 92, which is numbers, my nickname. And on the water, going to Statue of Liberty, and then on another trip going to the Staten Island. Out there, I had that experience with the numbers, with 118. And the 118 is the storm or the silver. And with, you know, this whole GameStop thing, silver. There's just, these numbers are real. They're you know, they're bubbling above the surface now. They're real, you know.
They are amazing. I'm gonna have to go and replay this on a slow.
Exactly. It's late now. We've got to get going. But I think that's a good place to stop. You know.
No, it's really brilliant.
GameStop.
Yeah, stop the game. Just have it.
Stop the game.
I'm gonna go. I've got to go and watch Tenet. I've got a big list of films. Yeah,
Tenet, Dark Knight Rises, Back to the Future 3, all of
Oh, I'm gonna dig that out for you. I'm gonna find that because it's just.
Please, yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be amazing.
About a year ago, I watched it. I'll dig it out. Look, fantastic. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure, buddy.
Really, I get a buzz after speaking to you because I'm gonna just go and soak all that up because it's very real, and we probably won't talk until next week when the Super Bowl's over. So we probably
see what comes in.
Well, it could be an emergency broadcast system. Who knows? We might not talk for a few weeks, but we'll catch up again after the Super Bowl, definitely.
For sure, buddy. For sure.
Yeah.
Exodus, your wallet of choice comes to 88 Trump, but we can talk about that another time. That was before closing. So that's just reminding me.
This is a crypto wallet, everybody, called Exodus. It's also a book in the Bible.
It is, and they went through on dry ground, Moses. You know, so here, there's a. It just reminded me of something. So, parting of.
The way.
Okay. This is an interesting one. So, the two coaches in closing. I'll put this up so people can see this. Okay. Super Bowl 55 again. Can you see that? Can you see the coaches' names there, Mark?
Kansas City head coach something Reed.
Yeah, Andy Reid.
Bruce Arlen's, is it?
Something like that, yeah. But you can see that anyway. So this was interesting in closing. So Andy Reid is the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Me and Charlie just did an interview with my friend Alex Reid.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I heard about it.
And then Bruce Arians, it looks like Arians. But anyway, you do the numbers on that. So Andy Reid comes to 80. Bruce Arians comes to 111. 111 is New York. It's Parthenon. It's Londinium. It's also, if you just say February and then add 15, comes to 111 as well. But you add those two together, 80 plus 111. So Andy Reid plus Bruce Arians comes to 80 plus 111, which equals 191. And 191 equals parting of the Red Sea. So perhaps we will have a biblical moment soon with this stadium. With the numbers are beautiful anyway. Put it that way, and we'll see what happens. But who knows?
Yeah, well, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
I was just thinking that I was just thinking, shall I ask Tom to do the numbers on one of my poems?
You could, yeah.
And then I was like,
well, we've done it on one of them. The best is yet to come.
Well, no, you've done the title. I'm thinking of the whole poem.
Oh, the whole thing. Oh, maybe.
Maybe a bit of a big job.
Might be, yeah.
What's your hourly rate?
It's going up.
And the other thing, when this is over, we've definitely got to go on a pub crawl. I want to see how long it takes before the numbers don't work.
Oh, they'll probably they'll just get wackier, you know?
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, you have a brilliant weekend.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll be in touch on WhatsApp, but thank you very much for joining us. See everybody. See you later.
And come and check out Psych Club. My viewers from Psych Club, come and follow the Mark Attwood Show. Eventually meet some.
We'll put the link in the descriptions. Yeah,
we'll do that.
Brilliant.
Cheers, Mark. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye.